Hello, and welcome to my Final Fantasy VII Any% No Slots tutorial. This is kind of a prologue just to explain what to expect from this tutorial, and also kind of just my own thoughts on it. First of all, the big question, or just the most important thing is probably just what category are we talking about? We are talking about Final Fantasy VII Any% No Slots, and I am also talking specifically about the PS1 disc version of this game. A lot of information in this tutorial also applies to the PC version and to the HD console versions. However, there are several differences as well to the versions that have some key differences on some things. So if you're not running on PlayStation console, there's still some good information here, especially like how battles play out is pretty much the same. But do educate yourself on the differences there. So what the category is, though, is Any% No Slots. So Any% means that we are doing whatever skips we can to get to the end of the game as quickly as possible. It's about a 7-hour run once your time is pretty good, you know. World record at the time of this recording is 6 hours, 33 minutes. And the no slots part of the category name means it specifically pertains to Cait Sith's limit break slots. Cait Sith has a level 2 limit break called slots. It has the potential to one-shot any enemy in the game, including any boss, and it kind of warps the run. So if you look at just PS1 Any%, or sometimes people do just call it Any% slots. That uses a lot of Cait Sith. This is the category that does not use slots with Cait Sith, and instead we do all kinds of other cool strategies to get through things. With the strategies that we're using, we're not even ever going to unlock the slots limit break, because it's a waste of time to unlock it if you're not going to use it against to kill bosses. So who this video is for, or who this tutorial is aimed at, I hope it's aimed at everybody, as in, if you are a beginner, I am going to go over some very basic stuff, but even if you're advanced, I'm hoping that I'm going to be going through it with an excruciating level of detail, where you will hopefully also learn something. So you know, depending on, if you're advanced, then you can kind of jump around to the different parts that you want to, like, you know, maybe get an extra piece of information about, but overall, you don't have to watch the whole thing. So if you are a beginner then, and you're using this to get into the run, there's one giant piece of advice I have that isn't really covered around the video, which is, if you are just starting, you can save the game. Don't be super intimidated by the length of the run and the ability for a super long run to die at any time if you die to a boss or something. Just save your game often, right? Whenever you get a chance to save, go ahead and do it, especially before bosses. You know, if you die to a boss and you have to load your file, that's fine. When you're starting out, that's totally fine. And that's going to be your biggest time save when you first start running, is how few game overs can I get in one run, you know? That's kind of where it starts. And then only when you start to get runs that have no game overs in them, now it's like, okay, I guess I can start to not save the game anymore. And you can cut down on your saves as you go. The other thing is that I'm going to be talking a lot about steps, and you should know how steps work so that you understand how important it is to have good movement. But when you're just starting out, I wouldn't expect that your movement would be good enough to keep up with the step route, especially not the one that's being talked about throughout this tutorial. So if you are just learning the run, I would say ignore step count and just move as optimally as you can. As you start to get better at all of the movement and more familiar with all of the screens and the best way to get through all the screens, you'll kind of naturally start doing the right step route movement. And then applying a step route is only a matter of adding walking steps in, but you're still doing all that same optimal movement. You know what I mean? So don't worry about steps at first, and if you are interested, I would recommend, as early as possible, just learn how to get preemptive apps. Because getting preemptive apps is its own little step route, you know? It's a step route just through the reactor, and it's got a setup at the end that needs you to leave on a certain step ID. All of this will make sense after you watch the first couple episodes, but the point is that if you only learn how to get preemptive apps, that is only the first half hour of the run, and in fact the step route part of it is only the first 10 minutes of the run, or 12 minutes of the run. And so at that, I think that it's very, very good to learn that, because that teaches you all the concepts of step routing, and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the game until you feel comfortable enough with that movement. So anyway, that's just some recommendations for beginners. Save often, ignore step route at first, learn preemptive apps pretty early though, and then take away your saves and add step route as you feel comfortable. Anyway, last thing that I would say is I am no authority about this game, right? If I say something, that doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% true. Different strategies, different things about this game are always being found, and I don't have the world record, right? So, like, I am teaching my preferences and my strategies and the way that I tackle everything, and so, it is good to get your own experience and also to ask other people, right? You can hop into any speedrun of this game and ask questions if you need to ask questions. There's also a Discord that you can get linked to from speedrun.com/ff7. That's also a really great place to ask questions. So there you go. Enjoy the tutorial, and I hope you learned something.